Hello everyone, welcome to the Matrix Exodus, and we're going to be talking and celebrating, hopefully. I mean, we don't know for sure yet because votes are being still counted, but we should be finding out that hopefully there is a low voter turnout, and that would be a good thing. That'd be going down the right path, I think, especially from my perspective. I don't think we should be consenting to incompetence ruling over us, so it would be a wonderful thing if that is actually has happened. Gotta say, I love the way they write other there. Lib Dems, they allow to have a colour, but they don't allow reform, which is interesting because it shows their bias still. And what was very interesting was that reform even beat Lib Dems. So it'll be interesting in the next election if they remove Lib Dems from their majority list and replace it with reform. I know in my son's school they talked about the election ideas, the ideas of election, but they didn't include Reform Party within that, so it sort of implied that they didn't exist, and that's kind of what Sky and all these newspapers do. They don't provide the colour for reform, which implies that they're a non-existent party. So it's interesting that they came third. I bet that was a bit of a strike in the stomach to the, the non-players of democracy who don't really believe in democracy unless you vote their way, that sort of thing. And that's most of the media. Now let's talk about reform and Nigel Farage, because he has said, just having some coffee, he has said that he's going to get rid of the Human Rights Act, and I think that he will do that. I think it will take him, let's say, about 3 more elections to get possibly a majority or something like that, and something will happen so that he does get a majority and goes into winning seats and all of that, I would imagine, because they wouldn't allow it just to be, they wouldn't allow the people who are voting reform just to win, because that would prove to the nation that the population is more nationalistic than they have than what they're claiming. They're always saying, oh yeah, everyone wants diversity, everyone wants multiculturalism, which isn't actually true. That's everyone in their little echo chamber wants it, but the majority of the UK citizens or natives don't want that, I would say, because we've had the referendum, we've had this now, and it's increasingly showing that people don't want mass immigration, and yet still the immigrants are turning up and demanding specific laws to protect them from us, knowing that we don't want them here, and yet arriving anyway regardless, which is interesting. It goes to show that I'm not sure whether they are invaders or what, but it goes to show that they have no respect for the people, the natives of this country, if they keep on turning up knowing and seeing full well that the natives are trying to vote their way out of this, which you can't do. You can't do that. So let's talk about reform in the future when they win, because they will. And I suspect that they'll win at a time when they're ready to have these wars. I don't think they're ready to have these wars yet. I think the wars are coming, but they're not ready for them yet. and I suspect that that's why there's a need to remove the Human Rights Act. You know, people will be able to say, well, I'm not going because it's against my religion, it's against my, you know, I've conscientious resistance, disabled, I'm not able to, and they're just going to chuck everyone in to this pan of war. And that's why they need to get rid of the human rights. And that's why, you know, for a long time, Nigel Farage has been talking about that. And let's not forget that we do live in a country with case law and common law. So the case law for human rights still exists, unless Nigel Farage wants to get rid of common law, which he can't. I mean, you can't do that now. We've got it. So, I mean, there'll be ways out of this through case law. This is why I didn't really understand the argument of leaving the EU, then you'll lose your human rights. No, you won't, because they're written into our law now. They are written in through case law. I mean, it's not as hierarchy as what legislation is, but it's still there for your court cases as a way of making your case stronger. So yeah, I mean, use it. Yeah, I think that in 2 or 3 elections now, Farage will get even more of a gain, because I think there were other parties which were doing kind of pro-Palestine. So they won't want to be going to war, and they would be using laws such as the Human Rights Act to prevent themselves from going up against their own people in war. Because I think the war will be around, you know how it used to be with the Knights Templar and everything. It was like the Christians against the Muslims, and then the Jews in the middle. And the Jews were kind of in where I've talked about in my videos for my other channel, Khazaria. And I do feel that Khazaria is being rebuilt, or Tartaria, as the old Christians used to call it. It was the underworld, you know, Tartarus. So I think that's being rebuilt for more war, and that's where the dead will be buried, basically. Tartaria. I bet they'd even mock the people who go to war and rename that area Tartaria. Or, you know, they're pretty sick, these people in leading positions. Would Reform be able to repeal that law? Yeah, I think they could do if they got a strong majority and all of that. I think that the judiciary is so corrupt that they'll just sort of sit back and take it, because the judiciary is just, you know, it's corrupt. It's been corrupted. It's completely political now. It's not about law. It's about politics. So, yeah, they'll absolutely be able to do that, I think. So that's what I'm seeing. So that's what I'm guessing's coming. Now let's say that's 2000. Next one's what, 2025, 29, something like that. Just in time for Agenda 2030. And then another election round about 2033, 4, something like that. Yeah. So they're just going to be sort of hammering people up, because if you've noticed, Farage was promoting the injectable. So he's on the, I won't call them globalists, because apparently that's an offensive word. So I'll use the word which came from this book, and call him an industrialist, and that's what they all were, including the man with the tash, a industrialist. So they're all on the same team, and they always have been. There wasn't some, you know, hero with a tash. Those people, even with the tash, they were on the same industrialist team as everyone else. So I don't know what that's about, you know, that whole let's cheer on the tash man. But anyway, it's still happening. Turnout 60%. There we go. Turnout 60%. I didn't even see that. Oh, that's good. 40% didn't even come out. That's going to go down again each year. Yay! Yeah, I'm really happy with that. I think it's going to be very difficult for them to, you know, as they're repealing laws and stuff, if they've got a turnout lower than 50%, I think it's going to be very, very hard for them to be a legitimate government, any of them. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to decline even more. Hopefully that's hopefully it's going to go down a lot more than 60. Below 50 would be beautiful. Yeah, so that's what I'm celebrating, the low turnout. That is glorious. Yeah, very happy with that. We need it to be lower. Keep on getting it lower, and then we can argue all the time in the courts, but you know, we don't see you as legitimate authority, all of that kind of stuff. We don't see you as legitimate authority. While these people are here, it will be you know, it's hard to get out use those sorts of arguments. With reform getting, you know, 14%, what I would also say is that Labour, or whoever's in the majority party, may sort of grasp onto their will get rid of the human rights, and they may sort of claim, because this is what they did with Brexit, they claimed that the people didn't know what they were voting for. The question was meaning something else, the people were voting for something else. They may say, we'll remove the Human Rights Act so that it's done quicker for because then they'll say, oh yeah, well, you know, there's a high percentage of people who do want the Human Rights Act gone, so we'll do that for you. You know, so that it's convenient for their agendas and their narratives. This is what they do. They'll sort of pick out the pieces which work for them, for their end goal. Well, I'm very happy. I'm celebrating today. I do want to see lesser turnout, but that'll do. I'll take what I can get. And now I'm going to see how YouTube is burying my videos again. I've got a video coming out on Sunday. That's about how YouTube is censoring me, and I'm going to bring legal action against them. I just got to build my case up about them, but that's fine. I'll do that. Right, please like, subscribe and share, comment. Thank you. Bye.